Judica County is brought to you by Whitaker and Hamer, attorneys and counselors at law, your law firm for life.
Welcome back into Judica County Radio. Your host, Josh Whitaker Joe Hamer, managing partners, Whitaker and Hamer Law Firm. Office is located right here in Raleigh, Garner, Clayton, Goldsboro, Fuquay-Varina, way over there in Gastonia, and way down by the coast, Morehead City. And again, it's always about legalese. They're practicing attorneys here in North Carolina. Your law firm for life. I like that. I'm Morgan Patrick, consumer advocate. If you've got a legal situation you're facing, you can always call the firm, 800-659-1186. That's 800-659-1186. Leave your contact information, briefly what that call is about, and an attorney with Whitaker and Hamer will be in touch. And email your questions to the show, info@judicacounty.com. It is mystery question time, so Josh, take it away.
All right, next mystery question is one we haven't had. I don't think we've touched on this in a while. This is coming from a contractor, right? So this would be somebody, electrician, general contractor, plumber, anybody who's done work on someone's residence or building or place of business. So this guy is saying he did $15,000 worth of work. Excuse me, he did $9,000 worth of work on someone's house, and he's trying to figure out if he should. His question is, should I sue in small claims court or file a mechanics lien? That's his question. What do you think about that, Joseph?
Oh man, that's a very good question. I want to tell him congratulations on the question. Tell him we would love to assist him with that. And small claims is generally going to involve a dispute less than $10,000. So we're talking about, would you say 15,000?
No, I did say 15,000, but it was actually 9. So in North Carolina,
wait, it was actually 9. What happened?
You weren't listening.
You trying to throw me off here, man? You're right. I wasn't listening.
So I originally did say 15,000.
I like to not listen to what you say and then still try to answer. I'm trying to see if I'm good enough to still answer your question, even if I don't listen to you.
So our guys claim you could technically do that in small claims. You got to breach a contract issue. It's under $10,000. That's usually every state has a different threshold for small claims. And we've talked about small claims. Small claims is designed for kind of like people's court, right? Small claims is designed where you don't necessarily need an attorney. It's a magistrate instead of a judge. They stick to the rules of evidence, but they're very nice to you. They don't yell at you like these mean TV judges.
Yeah, you're not getting Judge Wapner up in there.
So it's unusual to see attorneys in small claims, but so this guy's got an option. He could sue in small claims, or he's actually in North Carolina. If you've done a certain type of work on a land or a residence, you could file what's called a mechanics lien. And I would argue that anytime you have the option to file a mechanics lien, that's your better option.
Yeah, that was going to be my thing, man. Because what are you ultimately getting out of small claims court, right? Like, what's your best case result?
Well, I think before you even go there, it's just you talk about like the process of a mechanics lien and what it does immediately.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like your ultimate result, if you go through the entire process of small claims and you win some kind of a judgment against somebody, mechanics lien is going to be much quicker, much faster, arguably just as secure, and it's going to get you to the same end result essentially. You know, if you've done work on property, a judgment is only worth what the person that you're getting that judgment against is worth, right? So if you get a judgment against somebody who's kind of worthless or who's not going to pay you, who owns no real property, things of that nature, then it's not going to be worth a whole lot. Like it's there, but you may never realize anything from it. Now, the mechanics lien, we're talking about a situation where you've done work on someone's real property in this hypothetical. So you know this is a person that has property. And putting that lien out there on that property is going to, it ties to the property. Anybody who's doing a title search on that property is going to come upon that lien, and it's going to be something that's going to get taken care of before that property can be sold or disposed of in any way. So mechanics lien is going to be quicker in this scenario. It's going to be faster. It's going to be of equal benefit, in my opinion. And you don't have to do all the legwork of going down to the small claims and making the arguments and things like that. So,
yeah, I agree with you. A mechanics lien is quick. A mechanics lien, if you're within there's some time limits in every state. North Carolina, you've got 120 days from the last day you did actual real work on the property to file a lien. An attorney usually will help you out with that. You could also, in theory, file one on your own. You don't have to have an attorney. But if you file a lien properly, that acts as a judgment right away. Now there's still, within 180 days, you have to actually go ahead and file that lawsuit. You can't do that in small claims. You'd be in district court at that point. But the lien is quick. It's easy. Usually it can be filed within a day or two, and it does some damage while it's there. Eventually litigation does come into play. But these mechanics liens, you see a lot of these, like somebody's done work and they know the person's about to sell the house, and a mechanics lien filed correctly would have to get paid, when that property was sold or before that property was refied. So mechanics lien is definitely the quickest way. Small claims would take a little longer. Small claims you can get a judgment, but then it gets appealed. It can get appealed to district court. You can have a district court trial on it. It just moves a little slower. Mechanics liens are specifically allowed for certain people, and they move fast. So I think a mechanics lien is the way to go there, just based on the facts that we have.
That's going to be my vote too, man. I think we're in consensus that the mechanics lien's the play. Next.
All right. Well, here's the next question. And again, some of these questions so far, I haven't minded these questions today.
No, you've done what, 2?
Well, that's
3,
good. It's your
3.
show. I mean, come on.
I was going to say you're picking them, man, but they are mystery questions. So
this one is I'm less excited about, but it's a thing that happens.
I could tell. I was looking and I saw you looking, and you looked pretty depressed.
All right. Our bartender for, I got to read this again. Bartender for a canceled wedding won't refund our deposit. Do we have a case against the bartender?
Our bartender for a wedding won't refund our deposit. Okay. So I'm going to say this is a contract specific question, right? So what's your agreement with this bartender? Let's assuming there is an agreement. What's your agreement with this bartender look like? That's where we're going to start at. And then we're going to have to ask some additional questions too. Like assuming that he's just taking the money and run. Yeah, you're going to have an action against him, right? But are there any facts we're missing?
I'm sure there is. I imagine if this bartender is smart and at least has like a little one-page contract or something, I imagine this deposit is non-refundable if your event is canceled.
Yeah,
in a certain amount of time before the date. A lot of the wedding industry, the entertainment industry, your caterers, your florists, your bartenders, your bands, your entertainment, they all have contracts that probably require a deposit, right? So because they're not actively seeking another event.
Yeah, they're taking themselves off the market, man.
And so that deposit usually goes hard, right? Becomes non-refundable at a certain point when they really couldn't get another job. That's what it's there for. So yeah, we're missing some facts here. I don't know how. Hopefully, it wasn't like the day of the wedding.
Yeah, yeah. But again, it boils down to what did you agree to, right? Like assuming that there is an agreement, even if it's the most simple agreement, what did you agree to? Now, in the absence of an agreement,
it's the Wild Wild West.
It's the Wild Wild West. Wicked, wicked, wow. That was a terrible movie, by the way.
Oh, I didn't watch it.
Yeah, that's the one time where I can be like, you made the right call.
Yeah, I can just go to my grave never seeing the Wild Wild West.
No, you're talking about the latest Will Smith version?
Yeah, not the late. It's old, right? But this was a time when Will Smith was killing it, right? And I was a younger kid, and everything he did was gold. And the previews for Wild Wild West come out, like, it looks fantastic. It's going to be great, right? It was terrible.
Isn't that the one that had the big spider?
Had a big spider.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
Steam.
I hated it. I hadn't seen it since then. Maybe if I saw it again.
I don't think it probably holds up too well.
I don't think it does.
No, I wouldn't waste the time.
All right, I won't. You were an adult when you saw it, Morgan, so I'll take your word for it. I was a kid and I didn't like it, and that was like right in my wheelhouse. So,
but no, if you don't have a contract, you're kind of, and I'm assuming in this situation we're not talking about like thousands upon thousands of dollars, so this probably isn't a matter that's worth time or energy for litigation. Let's say it's a $250 deposit, which $250 is nothing. It's not chump change. But are you willing to throw several $100s, at filing in small claims or hiring an attorney to write a letter? That's kind of,
we're right back to that same conundrum, man. Like, what's it worth to you?
Yeah,
what's it worth?
I usually will talk to people in a consult. If we're depending on the amount of money we're talking about, do you want to throw good money after bad? Is going after this money worth the new money you're going to have to pay, filing fees, attorney's fees? Is it going to be worth it? And sometimes the answer is 100% yes.
Yeah. Sometimes
the answer is 100% no, and sometimes the answer is it's a close call.
Sometimes it's 62% maybe.
Right.
I like to be. We got to be honest with people, man. I'm not going to sit down and tell anybody that they got to be the one that makes the decision on whether it's worth it. I'm going to tell you what it's going to cost.
Yeah.
Straight up. Because that's the last thing you want is a client that you have talked into litigating and you haven't given them an accurate picture of, one, what they're going to pay, and two, what they're going to recover. I want that to be super transparent, man. There's no win. Like maybe as an attorney, you could make potentially more money by doing this, but you're going to have people who are very upset with you, man.
Right. Yeah. People need to know the process that's in front of them. People need to know what it's going to cost. They need to know what their time commitment's going to be. It's, and it can be formidable depending on the facts, and people need to be ready for that, because you don't want them to find out a couple of months in, Yeah.
That's the wrong time for them to find out.
Judica County Radio. Josh Whitaker, Joe Hamer are your hosts of the managing partners Whitaker and Hamer Law Firm. Offices located in Raleigh, Garner, Clayton, Goldsboro, Fuquay, Varina, Gastonia, and Morehead City. They're practicing attorneys here in North Carolina. Again, your law firm for life. The number to call if you've got a legal question and you need some answers, you can call the firm, 800-659-1186. That's 800-659-1186. And just leave your contact information, briefly what the call's about, and an attorney with Whitaker and Hamer will be in touch. And you can email your questions to the show, info@judicacounty.com. That's info@judicacounty.com. We have more mystery questions coming up on the other side.